Alrighty, according to this, we are live and we are here with the intellectual interrupter of Battlefield Pro Wrestling, the one and only JJ Smith.
How are
JJ,
you?
thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Good. I was contemplating coming on this podcast because it's hard to talk to some people that aren't as intellectually adept as me, I guess. But because you showed me so much respect by dressing up as me one day, I figured I had to return the favor. So I owe this to you. But
All right, well, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let's
you
talk
better you
about that
better
real quick
bring
before we
you
get into
better bring
everything.
some smart questions. So
I got you. I got you.
mhm,
So let's get into that. Now I know you've been doing this for what, about a year now, right? Year and a half.
that's correct.
So, what was your thoughts when you seen me dressed up as you the first time when you seen the pictures?
Dude, I was I was backstage, I was getting ready for my match, and I all of a sudden get a notification that you tagged me in a post, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this kind of maybe he's posting the card or whatever." And I pull it up, and there it is the picture of you with the glasses, the nose, the bow tie, and it had the caption like, "Let me know what you think." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, there is no way someone on Halloween dressed up as me." So that was a really surreal moment for me. And it was really cool to see that. So, I appreciate you giving that to me. Like, yeah.
You're very welcome. That was actually my buddy Ken Hoover's idea at KH Promotions. He was the one who came up with the idea of. I was trying to think of somebody who I wanted to dress as, and he's the one that came up with the idea of dressing up as you. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but we don't look similar at all. I don't
No,
have the same color hair. I have a beard. All of that. So,
no. But you had it down, man. You had it down. So it was perfect.
thank you.
No one can look, as smart as me or as good as me. So it was a challenge, but you did the best you could. So
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
mhm.
So, tell the people who may not know, what does it mean to be the intellectual interrupter?
Basically, I'm trying to say that in the world of wrestling, there's no one smarter than me. I am here to interrupt the business with my intellect. There's been some smart people maybe that have come through this business, but my goal is to prove that I am the smartest guy that have ever stepped foot in this ring between these ropes. I have the tools to win up here. Doesn't matter how strong they are, doesn't matter how big they are, doesn't matter how much experience they have. I have the only thing that matters, and that's up here. So I'm going to interrupt anyone who tries to stop that.
Very fair. So now you've got to compete with some of the biggest, some of the best at Battlefield. What is it like? Take us through a show day at Battlefield. What is that like?
Stressful, very stressful. It's stressful, but it's also very surreal. Some of the names, like you said, I've been doing this for a year, and the fact that I've been able to meet guys like Matt Cardona backstage is just incredible to me. That's kind of what we bring here at the Battlefield is we have all these up and coming stars, but we also are able to get a lot of big names that are out there on the independent circuit. So, getting to pick these guys' brains, they tell us all the time how spoiled we are, and I have to believe it. We gotta take advantage of the fact that these people are there and backstage, and just try to get their feel of how the business is, how they go about making money off of merchandise, stuff like that, man. So, um, other than that, it can be very stressful sometimes being backstage. Making sure everything's ready for the shows and stuff. If somebody doesn't show up and we have to fill a spot, it becomes very stressful. But we usually try to make it through and hit a home run. So.
That's a great point. Now, the fact that you've been doing this for a year and you're so damn good at what you do. Like I've seen you in the ring, tag team, singles competition. I'll never forget the first time I seen you. I was at one of the future shows for Battlefield,
Mhm.
and you had the bright orange pants on. Somebody had a Dexter's Laboratory sign in the crowd.
Oh,
I know you've
dude.
seen that. So if
Yes.
you want to run your mouth to those guys, go ahead. I'm all
Oh
for it.
no, they get it every time I come out. So they're. I won't bring them up on this, but they have their issues with me for that sign. But yeah,
So, what
they
is it
had
like
to say
training?
nerd on it, didn't they? They couldn't have said intellect. They had to say nerd. But
Yeah, that we don't
yeah,
like that word around here.
no, no, we don't.
So, what's it like going through a day training at Battlefield?
Training is ruthless. So I was actually at a show yesterday, five star wrestling, and I was talking to one of the guys there, and he's like, I came to your guys' training one time, and I I couldn't do it. I did one day, and I was like, nope, I can't do this anymore. The reps, the workouts that we go through every training, it's meant to condition us and make us feel like athletes, because while there are some smoke and mirrors to wrestling, this is an athletic competition. So the training is rigorous, and they have to make sure that we are athletes when we go out there, because make sure we don't get hurt, we don't hurt anyone else, and just make sure it looks good. So the training is ruthless, the dieting, the reps, working out, it's crazy, and you have to have a special mindset. You have to be able to endure that kind of discipline, and for a very long time, because it won't happen overnight. You're not going to get better in the ring after one training. It's going to take a year. I'm not perfect now either, but it's taken a year to get to this point where I am. So
Now you get to train under Alpha Junior as well as some other great people up at the battlefield. But outside of Alpha and your giant brain, what are your biggest influences in the world of professional wrestling? Like what inspires you to go out there and be the intellectual interrupter?
ooh, that's a good question. I've always, throughout my life, I've had people call me nerd, and it does offend me in the ring, but it's something I'm used to. So getting to use this platform to maybe show what nerds, quote unquote, can really do, and maybe put this energy towards something I love. It's easy. It comes easy for me, to go out there and perform. So um, that's something I try to take with me whenever I go out there. And it really, pushes me to try and be better and stuff like that. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
then it's kind of a part two to that question as well. Do you take inspiration from anybody you've watched in the past, such as the genius Lenny Poffo?
Yes. Lanny Poffo, Nick Bockwinkel is another one. He's great. Um, there's a lot of those guys that are smart, but another guy I really like to watch is Chris Jericho, because every time he goes out there, he's just so over the top, and everybody, he's not a big guy just like me, so he has to find other ways to impress people, and I just think he's made a hell of a career out of being obnoxious and saying some crazy things to the crowd that get him popular with them. So he's another guy that I really like to watch. He's kind of smart, not as smart as me, but he's up there.
I just think he just wrestled a 40-minute, almost 40-minute tag team match last night at
I know.
AEW Full Gear. Absolutely insane.
Hmm.
So back to the battlefield and five-star wrestling. There's a tremendous plethora of talent that goes into each show. You touched on some of the people that come in, like Matt Cardona, Ryan Kendrick has been there, Casey Navarro comes in. What separates you, JJ Smith, from them?
Hmm. Well, the way I look at wrestling is it's different flavors of ice cream. I think Casey Navarro brings a really fast paced style to our company. I think he brings just incredible work ethic to his matches. I think Matt Cardona is he's like the draw. I think what I bring to the table is something different, something unique. I think there hasn't been a wrestler like me for at least for a long time. Someone to fully go full gear, no pun intended, into this idea of being an intellect, with the glasses and everything. So I think I'm just bringing something different to the table that hasn't been done in a while. And I think, the reason I'm having some success with it is because, it hasn't been seen before, and people, you know, don't know how to react to it as well because they haven't seen, someone like this before. So I think I'm bringing something different to the table, and I think that's what will help me propel me to the top of Battlefield.
Very, very fair. Now, I want to talk about you and your tag team partner. Right now, you are undefeated in tag team competition
Absolutely.
alongside V Marino
Absolutely.
and
Hey, the superstar V Marino. The
Superstar
superstar.
V
Come on.
Marino.
Come on.
All right, Superstar V
Mhm.
Marino. You are undefeated with Superstar V Marino. collectively forming Team VJJ.
His idea, not mine. But yes, Team VJJ.
So take us through teaming with the superstar and how things have been there.
Oh man, couldn't ask for a better partner. The superstar V Marino. The guy has been training since he was like 12 years old. Um, the guy is just an absolute workaholic. To be honest with you, every single night, V Marino is texting me ideas of like what to do, like what gear to come out in, what moves to try. He is such a student of the game, and people don't give him enough credit. Um, so I'm hoping that my goal with this tag team to also get people to respect me. I hope people are able to respect the superstar as much as me because he puts an incredible amount of work and effort into each performance that he gives, and he's not given enough credit for it. So now that he has an intellect with him, maybe we can think of some ideas of how to, further elevate ourselves because, we are the fastest rising tag team in Battlefield right now. It's not even close. It's not even close.
So before we touch base on your upcoming tag team match and your partnership with V a little bit more, we have a comment here. This is from True Outdoors on YouTube. Let's see if I can pull it up on the screen here.
Oh boy.
It says, "Do you get your gear from the children's department?"
I do not. I'm sure you would know since you probably shop there a lot since you're bringing up that place, but I get my gear from wrestling, websites like High Spots, like actually professionally designed websites, my friend. So thanks for asking. I'm sure you know all about the children's department. I'm sure you shop there all the time. So
I'll hear about that one later. So, so the touch base back on with V Marino, you have a very, very big matchup coming on November 26th at No Man's Land for Battlefield Pro Wrestling. You will be teaming with Superstar V Marino and the monstrous Ox Adams to take on the Battlefield Tag Team Champions Primetime Heat and Code Red. So now, my question to you: what is your strategy? I don't want to go into too detail. I don't want you to give away your incomplete strategy, but what is your strategy or any ideas of how you're going to construct to defeat Primetime Heat and Code Red?
I mean, we have one of the greatest teams ever put together. You have me and Superstar V Marino, one of the fastest rising teams. Put us with a giant amongst men and Ox Adams, someone I've shared the ring with. And I'd like to think there's a mutual respect between us that we can at least coexist for a night. I saw what he did. I'm always informed. I saw what he did to Terry Adonis at the last show. Not the most trustworthy guy, maybe, but I think we can coexist for a night to take out Primetime because he's had an issue with Code Red. Me and V, I think we can take those titles off of Trey and Dio. I think their time is up. I think it's coming, but I think they're due for a loss, and I think that's gonna, come up and bite them this coming Sunday. I think they're gonna find that the odds are stacked against them with a team like us, a superstar team, if you will. And I think we're just gonna get the better of them because we're smarter, we're stronger, and we just have more charisma than them. So
I see when you did that, I see you got your hand bandaged up there. What happened there?
So, when you're training as hard as I do, sometimes we go through injuries. It was a sprain a couple months ago, and then I re-aggravated it in the ring. So just wearing this to, keep it a little stabilized. That's all. Yeah, we'll be all right though.
Alrighty, fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, like I said before, you're undefeated against tag team competition with Superstar V Marino, with an asterisk next to your name because last month I remember seeing a certain somebody being pinned by Macintosh. However,
What are you
that
talking about?
was
Macintosh.
well.
I thought we ended Macintosh's career.
I
If
think you
I'm
might
not
have been fired.
mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, he was hanging from the ceiling in that match. You were there. I know you were there because you're dressed as me. He was hanging from the ceiling, and we knocked the stuffing out of him.
Literally.
So, first of all, he's an inanimate object. He wasn't in the match to begin with. I don't know how that was even allowed. I was trying to talk to the ref about it. Apparently, he even signed off. The dummy even signed off on the match. Don't really know how that worked, but he was
That's
not a real competitor. So how in the world could he have pinned me to begin with? You know, but
Hey,
it
listen,
doesn't
I'm just
matter.
saying, I've seen the shoulders to the mat 1, 2, 3. I don't agree with the general manager's decision, but again, you are undefeated, and I can't take that away from you.
Absolutely.
Hold on here. I got one more fan question coming in here. This is from Mike DeLong. It says, "What makes you and Superstar V Marino a great duo?"
Uh, what doesn't make us a great duo? I like to think that V brings the style, more of the style and the in-ring work ethic, where I bring the smarts, the brains, and how to win. So I think when you put two and two together, I think we create an unstoppable team. I just think the way we carry ourselves out to the ring, I think it just makes sense that we get put together. We carry a lot of confidence, a lot of charisma, and we both share a disdain for the audience because a lot of them like to give us crap when we come through that ring, and a lot of them like to bother us and try to get in our heads, whether it's about his mullet, whether it's about me being a nerd. you know I just think it brings us together and it creates a unstoppable super team. So there you go.
So you've been to Battlefield plenty of times enough to see the crowd. What separates the crowd from the future shows as opposed to the larger shows that are on the Premier Streaming Network?
So I think um the smaller shows, which is now called Saturday Morning Superstars, I think those crowds are more like family and like close friends of all the talent that are on the show, and they just want to see us succeed and support us. So I
Hmm.
think they're more invested in that sense. Whereas I think on the pay-per-views, we get a lot of, you know, outside fans that maybe aren't close with the talent we have, but are drawn to it because of the talent that's on it. So I think the pay-per-view crowds just draw, a larger diverse group of people to come and see us.
So now, when the crowd, they're chanting "nerd," they're chanting. I can't repeat some of the things that they say on here because
No.
they'll get flagged on YouTube and Facebook. What's
Yes.
running through your mind when you're in a match and you're in the middle of the heat of combat and you hear people "nerd" and all the other stuff that they're saying? What's going through your mind at that point?
You try not to let it get to me. Like I said before, I've heard these things throughout my whole life. So while it's different when a couple hundred people versus, five people are saying it, in an audience, when it's a little bit different, but I try to channel that anger to my opponent, and I try to, do it. This happened to me against Nolan Pierce. I remember they started chanting some things which I can't even say right now. Started chanting "nerd" and all that, and I remember I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna channel it right here onto Nolan, and I'm gonna make him pay for you guys chanting this. And I ended up beating that guy. So I think if the crowd wants to keep chanting, you know what? I say go for it because all it's going to do is fuel me to keep getting victories.
And speaking of victories, now here's my question to touch back on your tag team match, your 6-man match that's coming up.
Mhm.
What happens if it comes down to you and Code Red, who you have Ox on your team, but Code Red's not a small man by any stature. What
He's not.
happens in that situation?
Code Red's big. You know, Code Red has done some insane things in that ring that, no normal man could do, let alone Code Red. But, you know, if it comes down to it, especially and towards the end of the match, he's going to be tired. I'm going to be tired. I'll have the only thing that matters. I'll be able to outsmart him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Code. Doesn't matter if it's Trey. Doesn't matter if it's Dio. I will. I will figure out a way to get them down for the 1, 2, 3.
Alrighty, now say you guys do wind up picking up the victory in that match. Do you think that automatically puts you in line for the tag team championships? Do you think you should be first, or
I think it 100% does. I mean, I don't know how many times Primetime Heat has been beaten as a trio, so this would definitely be a monumental victory. Um, if we do, I think next show you can bet that me and V will go for those titles because we've had a few victories now. We've beaten Danger and his, you know, play dummy. We took care of that. Took care of the Vetranos, got one victory over them. So I think that's only fair that we're given, that title shot against Primetime at the next show.
Fair enough. So now, outside of Battlefield, you also do Five Star. So
Mhm.
if you want to take us through a day at Five Star as well, I'd love to hear what it's like there. I had the luxury to make it to one of their shows yet.
Yeah, so I was at my first show yesterday with them. It's down in Williamsport. It's a bit of a drive from this area, but
Mm.
no, man, I had a lot of fun there. The crowd was, it's funny. So I have another tag partner. His name is Dylon Woodward. He calls himself the Professor. So we instantly got along. We instantly became friends. He also wears the glasses and everything, and so he's become my tag partner outside of Battlefield. And as soon as we get out there to the crowd, guess what they start chanting? As soon as we come through that curtain, they
Is it
start
nerd?
chanting nerd. And so I was like, immediately it set me off. Like, okay, new crowd, I'm trying to get a feel for how you guys are, and you're gonna start chanting that. So, but we got the victory over two guys. They don't matter. They're not a real team. So, but we got a victory over them last night. So, but it was a
War.
it was a good show. Mm-mm.
Fair enough. So now that you have tag team wrestling experience, is there anybody, whether with your tag team partner at Five Star or your tag team partner at Battlefield, is there any teams that you would love to take on in the near future?
Uh, with the exception of Prime Time, I'd love to take them on for those titles. I think we could take them from them. Um, I'll say South Philly, South Philly's finest. I'd love to get in there. They love to talk about this gabagool and all that. I think me and Superstar would like to show them, a thing or two. Just show them some things in the ring, a little bit like that. It'd be fun to mix them up. You know, I do appreciate what they've been doing to Terry Adonis. Terry Adonis is a bit of a. I beat him. He's all right. He's whatever. Um, but I'd love to, mix it up with South Philly one day. That'd be awesome.
Fair enough. So again, to touch back with Terry Adonis. Now, you talked about Saturday Morning Superstars, and for those who haven't
Mhm.
watched it, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to anyway. So if you haven't watched
Okay.
it, spoiler alert. So Terry Adonis was looking for a tag team partner and found
Mhm.
one in Ox Adams, who was going to be your tag team partner on November 26th. So hypothetically, do you really feel Ox is like you say? I know you said he's not super trustworthy, but do you feel that you and V can actually trust him after what he did to Terry?
I already know where you're going. Don't worry. Me and V have already talked about this. We are going to have our heads on a swivel, make sure Ox doesn't do anything suspicious. But here's the deal. Ox wants to beat him too. That's kind of what's going to keep us together. Ox has had a thing with Code Red for a very long time now. They've been going at it ever since Ox started wrestling. Code Red's been giving him issues. So I genuinely feel that he's going to want to work with us because he had no relationship to Terry Adonis. He had no loyalties to him. He had no issue with South Philly really. He was trying to make a statement, and I'm saying if he tries to make a statement, me and V are going to be prepared for it. So
All righty. Well, Ox Adams, I got your work cut out for you. So don't try nothing. Don't try no funny business.
that's right.
So tell the people where they can find JJ Smith in the near future.
In the near future, well, of course, you can find me on Battlefield Pro Wrestling No Man's Land at the end of the month. As we've been talking about, I will be teaming with V, Superstar V Marino, and the Giant Ox Adams taking on Primetime Heat. You can watch that on Premier Streaming Network or come see it live at the Signature Training Academy. Um, we have a bunch of other shows in December. One going to be in Goldsboro. We're going to be in Allentown at a church. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I'm blanking, but we got a couple big shows coming up in December. I potentially might be working regional championship wrestling. That's going to be December 2nd. That will be in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. So you can come see me there. That's again December 2nd. Um, and maybe potentially 5 star again in the future. Not sure about next month, but next couple months probably will be seeing me there once or twice again. But yeah, definitely can come see me at those places.
Alrighty, fair enough. I got one more fan question here. This one was anonymously sent in. This one says here, it says, you said in a previous interview that you have aspirations to be the Battlefield World Champion. The question is, how can you be a heavyweight when you weigh 95 pounds with your boots on?
All right. So whoever typed that was not very smart. I don't know how you can get that. I weigh close to 200 pounds. I'm not sure how you did that math there. I think you're just trying to get under my skin. But what was the question? How can I be the Battlefield Pro Wrestling Futures Champion when I'm not as big as some of the other guys?
Yes, that's the gist of it. Yes.
Like I said, it doesn't matter. There has been guys, would anyone question Casey Navarro's ability to be the world champion? He's not the biggest guy, but he's good. And that's all you need to be. You need to be smart for 3 seconds just to get someone down for a count. And I can tell you right now that there's nobody, let alone Battlefield, there's nobody in the world of professional wrestling that will come into a match with a better plan than yours truly. I will be studying, I will have the answers, and I will know how to beat them. And that's all that matters in this business. It doesn't matter, you could toss somebody around the ring for 20 minutes straight, and then all that matters is the last 3 seconds of that match. So I can assure you that I will be prepared for that. No matter who it is, I'm wrestling for that title because the title is what matters most to me. And that's what I will fight for, and that's what I will be studying to get.
Well, before we get off, I actually do want to touch base with you on that one because you have competed for the Futures Championship in the past. You got to lock horns with Sam Adams. What is that like? I know Sam's a tremendous talent.
Sam is a tremendous talent, and getting to learn from him in the ring is amazing. He's traveled around the world for about the past 20 years. He's been on Impact. He's been on AEW Dark. The guy is getting to pick his brain, and all that stuff is amazing and incredible. And getting to share the ring of him to get a taste of what, a veteran in this business really is, and what it's going to take to get to that level. So definitely learned a lot from all those matches, even though he caught me off guard in that title match. I would have beat them for that title, but it was veteran instinct. That was all it was. He didn't outsmart me. He just, he did get the better of me by unfair bias because of that ref. That ref was slow counting me a couple times, which, by the way, was Ken Hoover. By the way, he was slow counting me. So
always something with him.
I blame that. I blame that loss on him. So
I'll tell you what, it's always something with him because I remember he's gonna hate me bringing this up, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
The Dark STG versus Spencer Slade match when he got chokeslammed by Dark STG. Like I said, it's always something with that man. I see him, at least talk to him almost every single day, and it's always something with him.
Yeah, he's a goofball sometimes, but he's trying to be my manager, and he provides a great place called the Snack Down Grill. So, he's getting up there with me. Maybe someday in the future you'll see me teaming up with him. But
yeah. Hopefully, no more slow counts.
Oh, it's over for him. If he slow counts me again, it's over. That's it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna see you choke him next.
Yeah, I'm working on it. If he pisses off me via Knox, you can guarantee that will happen.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna be praying for it. But much like JJ said, you guys can check him out at the Snackdown Grill and Turnbuckle Collectibles in Quakertown. Now, before we go, I just want to thank you again so much for coming on here. And tell the people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any merch you want to plug, now's the chance to do it.
I don't have merch yet, unfortunately. I'm working on it. I will get that sorted out. But where you can find all my information is at JJ Smith Wrestler on Instagram. That's where I primarily post everything. I will be posting merch once I get it on there. I'll be posting all my bookings and everything. So go follow that on Instagram at JJ Smith Wrestler. And yeah, you can keep up with the intellect. You can follow me. You can, if you want to be smart, you'll follow me and just keep, liking and reposting everything because damn well, all of you, that the smartest man in wrestling is me. So you want to follow me because smartness leads to success.
There you go. And speaking of the devil, Ken Hoover, here we go.
Okay.
He says, the intellectual
Ah,
savior, the intellectual champion, the intellectual interrupter, JJ Smith, the smartest man in wrestling. Kenny, you are an ass kisser, if I've ever
no,
seen
no,
one.
no, 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 no. Ken is smart. Ken is intellectual. Ken knows where his bread is buttered, and that's with me. He knows who the true savior is in the battlefield. He knows who has the potential to have the greatest success rate in the battlefield. So, Ken, I appreciate you, brother, because all these questions, from other people have been pissing me off a little bit. So I appreciate you coming in here, Ken.
You're such an ass kisser, Kenny.
Nah, definitely not.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrestling All Day podcast with the intellectual interrupter, JJ Smith. Make sure you check it out. Premier Streaming Network, if you can't make it to the show. 127 Aaron Lane, if you can, in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania. November 26th, Battlefield Pro Wrestling, No Man's Land. And it's still, hold on. We got Kenny talking again. He said it's true. It's true what? It's true, it's damn true. What, that you're an ass kisser or that what JJ said?
I think he's agreeing with me. I don't think he's
Oh,
an ass kisser. I don't think he's an ass kisser. You're not. You're not, Kenny. Don't worry. I got your back. Hey,
well, anyway, as I was
smarts
saying,
recognize smarts. That's all that matters.
that is a very fair point. So with that in mind, this man is, he just keeps going. He says he is the manager of stars. I agree with JJ.
Yeah. If he wants to manage stars, there's no bigger stars than the superstar V Marino and the intellectual interrupter JJ Smith. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. JJ Smith will be teaming with superstar V Marino and Ox Adams to take on the Battlefield Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, Primetime Heat, and Code Red this Sunday, I believe. Yes, this Sunday. No. Yes.
This Sunday. Mm-hmm.
This Sunday coming up. Yes. It will be November 26th at the Battlefield. Make sure you guys check it out. Battlefield Pro Wrestling No Man's Land. It's going to be a great show. And again, if you can't check it out in person, make sure you check it out on the Premier Streaming Network. JJ, thank you so much for coming on. This was a great show.
The pleasure was all yours, Matt.
All righty. For the Wrestling All Day podcast, I'm Matty Smackdown signing off.